Superstars of the sport. Jesse Mendes yesterday on Big Ten Today. A look at just how special this night is. It's year 19 of the Big Ten Network, but who's counting? This is the 9th time we've had 1 versus 2 on our air. It happened just over a year ago when Penn State crushed Iowa. Nittany Lions have been involved the last 7 times, winning 5 of their previous 6 such matchups, and certainly favored to win again tonight, 7 Eastern, here on the Big Ten Network. Shane Sparks will be on the call, and he joins us now from State College. Shane, for those who might be casual fans who see 1 versus 2 and, hey, maybe I'll check that out, help them understand the significance of this match.
Well, Dave, it's always great to talk wrestling with you. And 1 versus 2 in any sport, it always hits a little bit different. But wrestling in the Big Ten, this conference has dominated the college wrestling landscape for decades. Penn State, their dominance, this is the most dominant program in all of college athletics going on today. Ohio State has been phenomenal, 17-0 to the best of my knowledge. They have never began 17-0. So a 1 versus 2 with the resumes of both these programs. Pretty special night in State College. Bryce Jordan Center will be 16,000 people. They do a great job presenting the sport. That is a great night with 2 phenomenal programs celebrating the sport we love, college wrestling.
16 wrestlers ranked in the top 10 in their weight classes. So just to give you a sense of how good the individuals are. And as you said, best 2 teams in the country. Penn State hasn't lost in 6 years, and Ohio State off to their best start ever. So let's get into some of these matches, and let's start with 125, which really, genuinely could end up being the NCAA final.
Absolutely. These guys are 1 versus 2. They're both undefeated. Nick Bouzakis of Ohio State came down from 133, and this is a matchup, Dave. We always talk about it. Styles make fights. This is a great contrast in styles. For Nick Bouzakis, it is power, power, power. And for Luke Lilledahl, it is speed, speed, speed. And these 2 guys also were high school teammates for a little bit of time up at Wyoming Seminary in Kingston, Pennsylvania. I'm sure they know each other well. Pretty cool to see these 2 guys match up at 125, 1 versus 2. I can't wait for this matchup, Dave, and I have no idea how it's going to shake out. Really curious to see how that contrast in styles navigates itself over 7+ minutes.
The high school teammate thing is an interesting wrinkle,
Yes.
but have never wrestled against one another at the NCAA level. And as we saw, 26-0 combined. So that's a great place to get us started. Okay, 133, Ben Deino and Marcus Blaze, also their first ever meeting. How do you see this one?
This also has some history to it. So these guys go back. They had an Ironman final. Marcus Blaze only lost 2 matches in high school. This was one of them, to Ben Deino in the Ironman finals in freestyle to make a U20 world team in 2024. Marcus Blaze beat him in 2 straight matches. He went on to win a U20 bronze medal that summer. And then last year at the U.S. Open, once again, it was Marcus Blaze. So they have some history, mainly in freestyle these past couple of seasons. But these guys score points. Deino, 20-0, 13 bonus point victories. Marcus Blaze, 17-0, 15 bonus point victories. So these guys, very aggressive, put a lot of points on the board. Top 5 matchup, 133 pounds, is loaded in the Big Ten. Of course, you have the reigning national champion and Big Ten champion, Lucas Burt of Illinois, ranked number 1. This, Dave, this match to me at 133 is worth the price of admission. I cannot wait to watch these 2 guys. And Ben Deino is a redshirt freshman. Marcus Blaze, Dave, is a true freshman. Marcus Blaze in high school was 3rd at the United States Olympic trials, wrestled inside the Bryce Jordan Center. This, again, a matchup kind of like 125, some history here, but the first time they're going to toe the line on the college wrestle. Can't wait.
Yeah, I should specify when I say first time they've met, I'm talking about in the NCAA,
Sure.
as you outlined. Obviously, they do have some history together, and that one absolutely should be phenomenal. I mean, you've got 2 guys who are 4-time high school state champs going head-to-head. Neither one of these guys is familiar with losing a whole lot. We saw Jesse Mendes off the top, and 141, he's obviously the heavy favorite there, but just a special individual. I mean, might be the best individual wrestler in the country. I think we have one other who could maybe make an argument for that in this dual meet here tonight. But for people who haven't watched Jesse Mendes wrestle, what can they expect tonight?
I think Jesse Mendes is the best combination of physicality, toughness, and technique in the entire country. Two-time reigning national champion. He's won 22 straight matches, 17-0 this season, 15 bonus point victories. Jesse Mendes and Mitchell Messenbrink, who we'll talk about in a second, are the front runners for the Dan Hodge Trophy. That is the college wrestling equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. And Jesse Mendes, and I admire this about him, he puts his goals out there publicly. He wants to win the Dan Hodge Trophy. He wants to win 3 national titles at Ohio State. Kyle Snyder won 3 national titles for the Buckeyes, and Logan Stieber won 4. So if he's able to get 3, he'll be in some really elite company in program history. But Jesse Mendes is another guy, must watch. I did a segment on Big Ten Wrestling social media this past week. When you toe the line and you look across and you look into the eyes of Jesse Mendes across the way, you know that you are in for 7 minutes of pure misery. I would hate to wrestle this guy.
All right, let's focus on Shane Vaness of Penn State, hoping this is the year that he breaks through as a national champ for the first time. Tell me about his matchup at 149.
This is an intriguing matchup. Shane Vaness, ranked number 1 in the country. He's undefeated, but he's been in a couple tough spots over the course of this season, but he finds a way to win. And a guy like Ethan Styles, ranked 6th in the country. He's scrambly. He's an All-American that came over to Columbus from Oregon State. This is another one of those stylistic matchups that intrigues me. If Ohio State wants to win, and it is a monumental task to beat Penn State, this is a guy that would have to do something special. Ethan Styles at 149.
You were talking about Mitchell Messenbrink and being a front runner for the Hodge Trophy in much the same way as we were talking about Mendes there. Like, for people who haven't watched Messenbrink wrestle, what makes him special? What should they focus on in his matchup tonight?
What makes Mitchell Messenbrink special, Dave, is that your grandmother, who's never watched college wrestling in her life, would watch Mitchell Messenbrink wrestle and be very intrigued because he's so exciting. He is must watch. It is all gas, no brakes. He's won 44 in a row, 17-0 this season, 100% bonus rate. He scores points, just keeps the pressure on. He is relentless with his offense. And like I said before, you take somebody that's never, ever seen college wrestling before and put Mitchell Messenbrink on the TV, they will be intrigued and go, who is this guy? Because he brings that kind of pace. He brings a pace that is unmatched in college wrestling.
So I got to ask you here, big picture, and we were talking about this on Monday when you were in the studio with us. I mentioned this at the Ohio State basketball game Wednesday night. And I was saying on the air when we promoted this match, I said, hey, Shane Sparks was on with me on Monday on Big Ten Today, and he said there's a path for Ohio State to win this. A narrow path, but a path nonetheless. So we're talking about Penn State. I mean, it's 84 matches in a row. They haven't lost in 6 years. Penn State hasn't. Give me a sense of what it would take for Ohio State to end the most dominant streak in the history of the sport.
Ohio State does not have Brandon Cannon tonight, who's ranked number 1 in the country at 157. That would have been a great matchup. Hopefully we'll see that at the Big Tens with Brandon Cannon and P.J. Duke. So no Brandon Cannon for Ohio State at 157. And the Buckeyes are also going to be without All-American Carson Hartzlaw at 174 pounds. Him and Levi Haynes had a really good match in this duel a season ago. It took a third-period takedown by Haynes to beat Hartzlaw in Columbus. Without Brandon Cannon, without Carson Hartzlaw, I would say on paper, Ohio State favored in a couple of matches. Penn State a favorite in 6, and those 2 toss-ups at 125 and 133. So with all that being said, Dave, the reality is to beat Penn State tonight inside the Bryce Jordan Center would take a monumental effort from Ohio State. And that is not an indictment in any way on Ohio State. That is just more of a level set as to how excellent Penn State is.
Right. And we've been talking about this all year. I mean, this may be the best team ever assembled in the history of college wrestling. So saying it's going to be a monumental task, particularly without a couple key injured guys, in no way is evaluative of Ohio State. It's more a function of just how good Penn State is. Man, can't wait. 1 versus 2. I know you're fired up to be there. This broadcast coming in at 7 Eastern tonight. We will look forward to hearing you on the call. Really appreciate your time on match day. Thanks, Shane.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Big matchup, Friday Night Wrestling, Penn State and Ohio State, and another huge matchup, Michigan and Iowa in Iowa City. That'll be fun as well. Always appreciate it. Thanks, Dave.
Outstanding. He's a human promo, Shane Sparks.